Hi, welcome back to Stacy's Creative Kitchen. I'm Stacy and welcome to Tuesday. Today I'm feeling a little bit South American. So considering the weather's still pretty nice, I thought I'd fire up the grill and make a little bit of South American inspired flank steak, top it with a little bit of a chimichurri, my take on a chimichurri, and then in true Peruvian style we'll serve it with a little bit of rice. Well, okay, not true Peruvian style, because if it were true Peruvian style, it'd probably be rice and potatoes. But we're just gonna go with rice. A little bit of jasmine rice and some fresh cut Roma tomatoes. So let's get started. First things first, the spice rub. I have in here, you can get a good look at it there, about a tablespoon of kosher salt, about a half a tablespoon of black pepper, a half tablespoon of onion powder, granulated onion, I should say, maybe about a quarter of a teaspoon of granulated garlic, and my secret, what I like to put in, is about a half a teaspoon, or actually a whole teaspoon, of Hungarian smoked paprika, a quarter of a teaspoon of cayenne. Mix it all together until it becomes pretty uniform. And we're going to go ahead and put some on our flank. So I have my handy dandy olive oil here. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of olive oil on my flank steak for a couple of different reasons. Number one, it's really going to help that spice to adhere, obviously. And also it's going to help maintain some of that moisture. And when I put it on the grill, it's going to get a pretty nice sear on it. Now, don't overdo it on the oil or you're going to stick it on your grill and flames galore. Nobody wants that. Let's be safe. But what you are going to do, put a little bit on there and kind of rub your meat. Okay, rub the flank steak together, kind of pat it, and flip it and do the other side. So, don't want to cross-contaminate, so I'm going to use my right hand. Pray for me because I'm left-handed. This could get messy. I'm going to add a little bit more, okay, of my olive oil, and then my spice mixture. And I'll probably have some left over, which is great. You will too. Then you could just stick it in a Tupperware or plastic container and keep it in your pantry for done both sides of this. Ordinarily, I would let it sit for maybe, I don't know, 10-15 minutes to really get those spices to kind of permeate that meat. So I will put this to one side and wash my hands. I'm going to put mine on my wood-fired grill, which I turned on to about 450. I want to keep it up a little bit higher so I can get a good sear on my flank steak and make sure that you really get that taste of outdoors. So if you're going to go to all the trouble of grilling, you kind of want to taste that grill, and plus the beautiful grill marks. But through the magic of video, I of course already have them done. It's been resting. I'm going to leave it here for the moment. You can see we've got those good grill marks on there. Yum! On both sides. I've cooked it to no more than a medium rare. Okay? So the best way to tell what temperature your beef or your meat is cooked to, especially steaks, grab a hold of your hand. Okay? My ring's dirty. If you're looking for rare, it's going to be this outer part of the connection between your thumb and your first finger. So that would be like a rare. A little bit further in is going to be a medium rare, medium well, and well done. I'm looking for a medium rare at the most. You can feel, yeah, we're about there. Good deal. Okay, before we get to cutting this up, we're going to let it rest for another couple minutes. I want to go ahead and get my chimichurri. My take on a chimichurri, I'm sure it's not authentic. Anybody who's actually lives in that region will probably say it's not authentic. That's okay. It doesn't have to be. It's my take on it. So here we go. Let me grab my food processor. And I've got some ingredients all ready. Put that to one side. Don't need that right now. But what I do need is the small, get the lid off of here. I've got a small white onion that I diced up. And again, whenever you're dicing this up, when you're making something like this and it's going into the food processor, you really don't need to be fancy about how you're dicing it. No one's going to see because it's going to get cut up anyway. So don't worry about it. Especially on a weeknight. Good grief, who has time for beautiful knife cuts? Not me. So that in, I have some very roughly chopped garlic, and I say very roughly chopped. I have about 4 cloves here. Here's the thing. You can use less garlic if you want to, but I'm Italian, and when I hear I should probably use 2 cloves of garlic, in my mind, my heart says, oh, 4 or 5 cloves will be right. So it's up to you. I'm gonna go ahead and add some in just the same. All right, so my garlic going in. I also have 4 serrano peppers. I did remove the seeds because I don't want to overdo it. Most of the time what you'll see in a chimichurri is a crushed red pepper flake, like a dried chile pepper, which is fine if that's what you feel like doing, but I had serranos in the fridge, so I'm going to use serranos. Those are going in here as well. Also, be sure that when you're cutting them up, put a pair of gloves on. The oils in those chiles can really permeate your fingers, and next thing you know, whenever you're washing your face, you're not going to be comfortable. We'll just say that. All right, so to this now, let's not forget I've got in the onion, I have in the serranos, I have in the garlic. Now, I'm going to add 2 very roughly chopped, barely not really chopped, bunches of cilantro. Lots of times you'll see parsley, and that's fine. I had cilantro this time, which is funny because last time I think I was running out of cilantro. So I'm going to put 2 in, and I may add, well, let's see if we can get most of that packed in there. I don't want to overcrowd it too much, so I'm going to use just a little bit less because that was a pretty hefty amount. I got my handy dandy kosher salt here. I don't know, maybe a couple of pinches of that. I also have some white wine vinegar. Now, this is about 2/3 of a cup. I'm probably not going to use all this, but the bottle was running out, so it just seemed easier to pour this way. So I will tell you, I'm going to go around once, around twice, 2.5 times or so. To this, I'm going to add olive oil. I would venture to say at least 1/4 of a cup, maybe 1/2 cup. I'm just going to keep going until it looks right. Also, have it on hand because once you start putting it into the food processor, you're going to notice that it may need a little bit more because it might be just a little bit thick. So the lid goes on. Come with me. I apologize in advance. It's about to get loud, but not for too long. Okay? Follow me to the food processor. I'm going to put it on, lock it in place. And then I'm going to start out by just pulsing it to kind of break things down. All right, so that was, what, 3-4 pulses. I'm going to take the lid off so I can show you what it looks like at this point. Also, I'm going to go ahead and throw in the rest of that cilantro because, in my mind, this is great for any kind of grilled meat. I mean, you can use it on steak, you can, well, I mean, not a hamburger. I probably wouldn't put on a hamburger. But any other kind of grilled meat, you could put it on some nice country-style pork ribs. You could throw it on steak. You could throw it on chicken. You could probably even put it on fish as long as it's like a nice white fish. I probably wouldn't use it on trout. Would overpower it. Anyway, I'm going to throw the rest of this cilantro right in here. Okay, I'm going to add a little more olive oil. And put it back on. One runaway onion. All right, let's pop that back on here. Set the lid. And this time I'm going to turn it on. Oh, let's go with chop. Okay, it's going to be doing this for about 7 minutes. We're going to check it once again because you want to make sure that it's kind of fluid. Okay, see how this is still a little bit thick? It's still not quite the consistency of where you would put a sauce. So We're gonna add more olive oil. I told you it takes a lot of olive oil, probably close to, when it's all said and done, maybe 3/4 of a cup or so. Okay, I go through a lot of olive oil in the house. I'm sure you haven't noticed. That's okay. All right, popping it back on. And we're gonna go to, I think we're just gonna go in high. That was literally 10 seconds. So 10 seconds and we are just about there. Yum! Okay, so putting this lid to one side, putting this to one side. Let's grab our flank steak. I have a cutting board here. And I've got a knife. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this up and get things started. Ooh, look at that. Okay, couple of important things when you're cutting a flank steak. First thing to remember, cut against the grain. Definitely cut against the grain. If you look at it, you can see the lines going this way here. You want to cut against them. That's going to ensure that your meat is going to stay tender and not be too chewy. Because when you have a less elaborate, we won't say less expensive, but a less elaborate piece of beef, you want to make sure that it's nice and tender. So your strip steaks, your flank steaks, sometimes even well, I guess not too much of flat iron, but you want to make sure that you're cutting against that grain to really get the best flavor, and so it's not, you can avoid that whole gross chewy situation. All right, I'm grabbing my plate. I'm going to tell you a little secret. If you want your rice and things to look, you know, pretty nice when you're doing your presentation on your plate or whatever, I personally like attractive food. I feel like if I'm going to take all the time to cook it and I want to eat it and I'm spending those calories, I want to make sure they look good. So I found a little secret to making rice look super pretty. And some people, if you're in like a professional kitchen or something, they probably use, I don't know, like a ring mold or something. I'm at home, I'm a home cook. I work full time. So I found an inexpensive solution for it, and it is a biscuit cutter. Genius. Putting my biscuit cutter in the center of my plate. I had my Instant Pot cooking some jasmine rice. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop some of this jasmine rice into my ring mold. And hopefully not spill it everywhere, because you know that's no fun. But again, it's just us. No big deal. So we're going to pack it in. I have this really handy dandy, and I'm sure if you have an Instant Pot, you have one too. This little flap. This thing's great. It can pack things in and look really smooth and kind of pretty without much effort. Okay, so I've got to add one more scoop or so. Okay, pack it into my biscuit cutter. Got a couple grains left over. No big deal. We're not professionals here. Okay, and then bring it over and ta-da! Fancy schmancy with little or no effort. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna grab my spoon for my chimichurri. I'm gonna go ahead and get this cut. All right, let me move this so you can see a little bit better how we're gonna do it. All right, so here we go. Against the grain. We've identified the grain. We're now gonna slice. Slice once. Okay, my husband's likes, he's kind of a big eater, so we're gonna make sure that we got at least a few decent slices on here. And the doneness, look, it's great. So let's see, let's go with, I don't know, I'm not big on super fancy freezing. I'll do my best. All right, let's go with 3. Oh, I don't know. All right, we'll just throw them here, whatever. Okay, so we've got 3 pieces. We'll kind of fan out. Now it sort of looks like tentacles, like a spider or something. I don't know. Anyway, it gets the job done, and it's all going to the same place. On the other side, I'm going to put I cut some Roma tomatoes up, so pop a few of those over here. All right, putting them on the side. Now, if you wanted to, you could certainly add potatoes to this, and then you would probably truly be of South American descent, because I don't know, I look at it and I'm like, oh, double carb, I don't know about that. But certainly it's terrific with rice. If you could do some fried papas, that would be tasty and delicious as well. All right, so I've got my skirts. I'm gonna put this over here, and we're gonna add, these are resistance, not really, it's just a delicious sauce. On top, our take on a chimichurri. So let's go across. Okay, a little bit here. You can always add more if you want to. You know, I feel like when it comes to a fresh herb garnish, you can't have too much. All right. The last thing I'm going to do is I am going to take a little bit of kosher salt and just sprinkle it on the tomatoes, because it really helps to bring out their juiciness and deliciousness. And there we go. Ta-da! Tastes of South America on a plate on a weeknight in 30 minutes-ish. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. I'll see you next time. Be sure to like the video, and if you can, subscribe to the channel. I love to hear from you. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.